Hi, today is a special video feature. I am going to let you know my experience since I started opening my matcha and coffee bar 2 weeks ago. I figured some of you might be interested to know, to get an update in exactly how it went. The first 2 weeks at Ritual Matcha Coffee and Tea Bar. If you are new to this channel, I opened my first Ritual Matcha and Coffee Bar as a takeaway and delivery counter here in Bangkok. It is located in a residential area, and so I was kind of expecting that people in the area would drop by and try the drinks that we make here. We opened exactly 2 weeks ago, and I am here to give you an update on how it went, how the customer responded, what are the top 5 learnings during the first 2 weeks. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you click that subscribe button. I post everything coffee and tea, especially for those that want to save money, make these drinks at home, and also for those that have a cafe or a bubble tea shop. Top 5 learnings. Over the past 2 weeks, I must say I have learned more than 5 lessons after opening this shop. Well, before we get into that, let me talk about the customer response. There have been many different types of customers coming in. Some are just coming in just out of curiosity. This is a new place. What are they offering? What's in it for me? What do they have? Are their drinks delicious? Is it worth coming to this place? And all those things. Most of the people that come are just really looking at what's in there, right? Something new. And also, you will also get some that are just snooping around. And what I mean by that is they come from our competitors. So be prepared for all of that. Now, how do you know that you are doing a good job or that you are doing the best that you think can be made for your target market? Really the benchmark there is if you have customers coming back. So once you see a customer coming back, that means it must be something that is good. During the first 2 weeks, there are bound to be mistakes, like, oh, okay, you pulled the espresso shot, it wasn't good enough, and so what happens is that it wasn't a great coffee, so it may be underwhelming for some. So for those first few customers, it is possible that they will not come back. So really, that is something you have to accept. You just have to make sure that you keep improving. Now, some customers actually come in and say, can they make the drink themselves? I don't know if any of you have experienced that, but some of them actually say, can I see how you make it? And they're just blatantly staring at what you are doing. You're not really sure whether these people are just snooping around and trying to emulate or copy what you are doing so that they can do it somewhere else. But again, that is just part of having a coffee shop. Personally, I also want to know how people are making my drinks. So when you see a new cafe opening, it is quite interesting to see how are they making it differently from others. Let me tell you a little bit about the customer feedback. You will get a lot of feedback, that's for sure. Some are good, some are just criticisms. You have to be able to separate constructive criticisms from just that, criticisms. Some people are good enough to give you criticisms. Others, they just say, it's good, but they don't really like the drink. You can never tell that. So you have to kind of like read between the lines. There were people that came in and say, oh, it's really good, I'll come back for more. And others are just saying it's too sweet, or others, and some even are saying that coffee is not strong enough. But overall, the customer feedback has been quite good so far. But I would just reiterate that the most important thing when you open your shop is to separate criticisms from constructive to good to simply just making a comment on something that they really have no intention of commenting on. You have to appreciate people that give you comments because those are the ones that you learn from. Sales volume. I'm sure many of you are wondering, how much do you make in a day over the past 2 weeks? Well, I would say sales volume has been going up and down. There were days when there were a lot of people that even 3 baristas at the counter were not enough to process all the orders. But some days very slow, and I think that this is just common for newly opened shops. I noticed that there were more customers during public holidays. These are days when people are at home, because I am located in a residential area. So I suppose when they're not going to work, they would find some place close by where they could go and have a cup of coffee or matcha, and that's the good news. But I'd say the sales volume has been going about 30 to 60 cups a day. Not ideal, but the most important thing is never to lose hope. This is just the beginning, and it could take weeks and months before you get the customer coming in, and a lot more customers that you need to be prepared for. Well, I'll just share with you one story. One of my customers, really a student that came in to have a workshop with me. He started with a slow bar. So he was doing mocha pot, he was doing AeroPress, filtered coffee, and in a residential area like this one, like the one I have. Over a period of 6 months, he was doing that, slow bar. So it takes about at least 5 minutes to process one order. And this is a one-man show. So he was doing all the orders himself, making the drinks. After 6 months, he had some back pain. Why? Because he was doing slow bar. And there were a lot of customers and not enough time. So he had to hire extra people. And guess what? He changed to speed bar using espresso machines. So the moral of the story is, yes, it might be slow during the first few weeks, but do not lose hope. Look at this guy who was starting as a slow bar coffee shop and had to end up making a different kind of coffee concept using espresso machines. Of course, do not wait until you get back pain before you make that decision. So learn from your mistakes early enough. Okay, on to the top 5 learnings I made for the first 2 weeks. Number 1 is the shop layout. I designed this, not just me, my family designed this facility to have a separate workshop, you have a takeaway bar, and then a common room where people can actually rent the space for. But the intention was to just have a takeaway and delivery. But that didn't quite work out, because when people came in to order the drinks, they wanted to come into the shop because there are tables and chairs there. So the tendency is for them to come in and wait inside the shop. So I would say that the first takeaway is that the layout didn't quite work out. If you are planning a takeaway bar, do not put space for people to come in and sit down. So it is kind of developing into more like a dine-in cafe, although we still want to promote this as a takeaway and delivery bar, but I will have to wait and see. Second learning, product testing. I thought that I have the products right because, I've been practicing, I've been doing this for longer than most people would do before they start their matcha and coffee bar. Well, in my case, if you think you have the products right, you are wrong. Well, what happened here was that I wanted to make my drinks different. So I selected a special type of ice, and I call it luxury ice. They are large cubes, so they are specially made. You don't get them easily from commercial places. So that's what I used in the shop during the first few days. But the feedback was not as I expected. What happened was that some people were saying that when they were served with a drink with large ice, they couldn't stir the drink. It was harder to stir the drink. And people just do not like that, especially in Thailand. We actually like our ice smaller bits so we can eat as well as drink the juice that's in there. But at the end of it, we like to chew the ice, so having large cubes just didn't work out. So the learning there was that I had to change the ice that I used in my drinks. So problem, large ice, too hard to stir. So this time what I did was to change the ice into 2 types. I used large ice for those that do not need to be stirred, that means pre-stirred, and then smaller ice cubes for those that need to be stirred. So I suppose that's a good learning, and you just have to be able to adapt the soonest possible. Third learning, and this is take two. Admittedly, the most difficult lesson learned. It is about the shop opening hours. What I did was to start opening the shops at 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. And it was only for Wednesday to Saturday. The reason being, our business model is not really just the takeaway and delivery services for our drinks. We also have workshops, we also sell supplies and equipment. But people have been commenting that it's not enough, that I need to open earlier and close later. I could just simply, disregard all those comments. But then again, there have been quite a number of people commenting about this. And the worst part is this, really, and I'm so ashamed to admit this. I looked at the shops around me, coffee shops around me, and true to form, they were opening from 6:30 to 6 p.m. 6:30 because people in the residential area, they want to stop and get their coffee before they go to work. And at night, when they come home, they'd like to get some drinks to take home. So I should have looked at the timing of the other shops around me before I decided on my opening hours. I was just too confident. Very bad lesson learned. Well, anyway, it can be fixed. So what I had to do was to change my opening hours from 9 a.m. in the morning to change it to 8 a.m. I started earlier, not quite 6:30 a.m. yet. And then closing hours from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now, will this work? Is this enough? I am going to wait and see and decide later if I need to start opening earlier, because the longer your shop hours are, you need to get at least 2 shifts of your barista. So this is a decision that you cannot just make on the fly. So you have to really watch the market, customer response, and wait and see. The bad news is that I have printed all the signs saying my opening hours is from Wednesday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And, well, I had to change all those signs. That costed additional money. Sad. I hate to be admitting all these mistakes, but I would like you people out there watching me to learn and not make the same mistakes. Fourth learning is on the menu. I was just adamant to offer only drinks. So I have my coffee drinks, I have my matcha drinks, I have my tea drinks. But people that have been coming in were asking, is this a cafe? Do you serve food? Do you have sandwiches? Do you have cakes? I am not giving in quite yet, but I am not going to say that that is never going to happen. I might have to give in at some stage and offer a few sandwiches like cheese toast or tuna sandwiches, or just croissants or cakes. But at the moment, I haven't yet decided, but I have been practicing making sandwiches, so wait and see. Still on the menu, I would suggest that you also make your menu multilingual, because I made my original menu in English, but I am in Thailand and there are people that would love to read Thai menu rather than the English menu. And another thing that I learned was that there are also a number of Chinese in the area, and having your menu multilingual would be quite an advantage. So look into that as well. Finally, and just for this past 2 weeks, this is the 5th lesson learned, staff training. What I would suggest is that you complete the staff training before you start your coffee shop or matcha shop. But regardless of the training that you have given your staff, you still have to shadow, you still have to monitor, you still have to keep training, emphasize consistency, because if there is any mistake, you are not sure whether that customer is going to come back for more. So any mistake is a very serious mistake. So make sure, as the owner, as the developer of the products, you must shadow your staff the whole time. Emphasize perfection, emphasize following the recipes to the letter, and this is what you need to do. So those are the 5 top learnings I made during the first 2 weeks of my operations at Ritual Matcha and Coffee Bar. Now, if people ask me what is my unique selling point, what is my key differentiator, how am I making my products different from the others? And my answer to that is quite simple. There is no one thing. When you open a matcha shop or a coffee shop, you must provide good coffee, good service, and maintain consistent quality. There's no such thing as great coffee, really. There's only good coffee and bad coffee. So keep that in mind and keep the hopes up. Everything takes time, and then you get there. Just follow the 3 tips. Serve good coffee or good matcha, provide good service, and maintain consistent quality. That's all I would like to update you today, and stay tuned for my next update, which might be in the next couple of weeks or even a month's time. Stay tuned. I'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.